My name is DJ Levy. I'm one of the owners here at Alpha IT. We're Vancouver Island's leading AI and managed IT service provider. And so today I'm going to be showing you a little bit about what Copilot is in 2026, because I promise you it is a lot more than what you think it is. There's not going to be any slides today. Everything that you're going to see is going to be live. And so if something breaks while we're doing this demo, that's just kind of par for the course with AI, but I'm sure it's going to be okay. There's a Q&A tab within Teams. And so I'd love some feedback, some questions. If there's something that we didn't cover in one of the apps that we go over, let me know. Copilot is gigantic. And so there's a lot that we're just not going to cover today, but we're going to be doing this bi-weekly. So the more feedback that I get from you, the better. So please lay it on me. Let's get into it. So what is Copilot? Most people, when they hear Copilot, they think it's Microsoft's version of ChatGPT, but it's not. And so for today's conversation, we're going to go over 3 layers of Copilot. The first layer is Copilot Chat. And so this is free with any Microsoft 365 subscription. It's free with, I think even just with the operating system. You can ask it questions, you can brainstorm, you can summarize things. It looks like ChatGPT, and honestly, at this layer, it pretty much is. But here's where it gets really interesting. And so this is when you get the Microsoft 365 Copilot license. This is the Copilot app, which I recommend to everybody to just pin this to your toolbar or taskbar here. And so you have 2 tabs within your Copilot app. You have your work tab and you have your web tab. And when you have the work tab toggled, it now has access to everything that you have access to in your Microsoft 365 tenant. Your SharePoint, your OneDrive, your Outlook, Teams chats, Teams transcripts, everything. And so it's got ultimate context in your organization and on you. And one of the nice things about working with Microsoft and with Copilot specifically here is everything stays within your tenant. Like, we hear all these horror stories right now, like people, they run these different tests, like AI is blackmailing people. It's publishing like defamatory blogs about the people who license it. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with AI. And so using the work tab keeps everything within your tenant and keeps it safe. And now if you go over to the web tab, you want to do things outside of your tenant, totally great. But there's guardrails set up. So if you click on the web, it now does not have access to my emails. It doesn't have access to my Teams chats, nothing. It's like it doesn't even know it's there. And so this is one of the really great parts about Copilot, and why for our businesses, it is a much better option than, a ChatGPT or a Claude. And that's really the mode. It's not that about which AI is smarter necessarily here. It's about which AI has access to your actual business data and more context. And so the second layer that we're going to be talking about today is Copilot within your apps. So when you have this Copilot license, every Microsoft app gets an AI button. So all the different apps that you're already working in, whether that's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all of those, you have a Copilot tab that you can start to interact with AI within it. So the third layer that we're going to be talking about is called Copilot Cowork, and this is where Copilot goes from your assistant or like your search engine to an autonomous agent, and so it's an agentic system built into Copilot. I'll show you that at the end. It blows my mind. It's a huge time saver, value adder, and I'm looking forward to showing you that part. So throughout this call, we're going to go over a real world example on how I am using AI today, and hopefully it will give you a chance. It'll help you visualize how you can use it for your company. And so, this is all live data, and it's just a real world example. And we have a product called AlphaPay. It's an AI-powered accounts payable automation software, and so it's something that we've developed in-house over the last couple of years. But we gave it a big facelift the other day, new interface, and we wanted to train our bookkeeping team on it. And so we had a training session with the team that we recorded, and this is one of the things that one of the most important takeaways for this is we have to be recording all of our calls on Teams. And so that means you either have to set it up in the settings before the meeting, or you have to record it in the actual meeting. And so, yeah, whenever you get on a Teams call with your team or with a client or anything like that, just make sure that you hit the start recording button and the facilitator button, which we'll get into in a second. So this was the training session with our bookkeeping team, and I had just pressed on the recap button. And so this gives us, all of our meeting notes, summarizes everything that we talked about. It showed us the follow-up tasks here as well. And then on the top right-hand side, you can also download the transcript if you want to do anything with that later. And then right here, we have the Copilot app. And so this is where we can start to query the meeting, engage with the content, that kind of stuff. And so, I just asked it a question yesterday, were there any concerns from the bookkeeping team on AlphaPay? And then it gets into the no major concerns, but it asks about the clarifying questions on it. And so really great summation of what we went over on the call. Now, there's two other things I want to quickly show you in Teams. And I think we could have an entire session on Teams, to be honest. So we might look at that in the future. But there's two tabs at the top. I have, I don't know what your day looks like, but my weeks, my days, they're filled with Teams meetings. And so sometimes I need a little recap, a little refresher on the meeting. So there's two different tabs here. There's the video recap and the audio recap. And so if I click on here, this actually takes a 26-minute video.
The meeting opened with a walkthrough of the platform's invoice processing workflow. DJ demonstrated how invoices are received, reviewed, and pushed.
2-minute video review. And so I can watch this before I follow up with the client, or if I'm building a proposal, online,
or highlighting the steps for
anything from the meeting in a short amount of time. And so highly recommend checking out the video recap. There's also the audio recap, and this is like an 8-minute, almost like podcast feel recap of the meeting. And so I won't show it to you, but if you click on it, it downloads it to your desktop. It also pushes it to your email, and you can push it to your phone as well. So if you're going out for a walk before a meeting or after a meeting and you want to recap everything that went on, that's how you can do it. And within the Teams meeting as well, we've got a few different tabs that we can look at. So we've got the Copilot app, which means that we can start to ask Copilot different questions about the meeting. And then we've also invited the facilitator into this call. And so at the beginning of the call, I gave it what our agenda was going to be. And it is, we can start to ask it different questions about the meeting as well. We can also get it to create different follow-up tasks. You can ask the facilitator to send you something after the meeting if you want to be prompted for it. And just another great tool for Teams. And sorry, it's going to be like drinking through a fire hose today. So if there's anything that you want more information on, please just drop it in the chat here. Let me just pull this back over here. All right. So the next thing that we're going to look at is Word. And I've got a prompt that I wrote here. And so I don't do a ton in Word here, but this is a really great use case for how you can use Word. I've asked it to pull the transcript from that AlphaPay training call in Teams and create step-by-step training SOP to share with the bookkeeping team. And as you can see, it starts to tell you, what it's doing and that it's getting started. And this is like a really great place to pause as well. Over the last few years, our company has, we've documented everything, our processes, policies, And that's where we can really get some leverage out of AI when we have those things documented. Because there's that term garbage in, garbage out. If we don't have things properly documented, it's not going to do a really great job of working for us, kind of thing. And so, if you don't have your SOPs created, this is a really, really great use case. And I'll take you through it in a second, but it does a really great job of summarizing everything, creating our policy, and something that we can share with the rest of the team. We can upload to SharePoint, or we can send it to the bookkeeping team as well. And so, highly recommend doing this. And there's even when we're all in the same room for a meeting, if we're all meeting in person, we have this going on in the background. We have Teams on in the background, exactly for this reason. Additional context, we can create documents, create follow-up agenda, all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, this is just about done. I mean, this would have taken me forever. Somebody on our team, maybe like go through the transcript and take all the different documents. Like, this would have taken a lot of time, and we were able to do this in essentially like 2 minutes once we had that phone call. All right, I'm going to move us over to one more feature here in Copilot. And so this has been around since the beginning of Copilot, but they've been doing a ton of work on it recently. This is widely adopted by other AI companies. It's called deep research. And at first glance, it's not going to look like anything new. It's probably, you've probably used something similar to this. I think that most of the other LLMs are using this type of technology. But yeah, I'll show you where Copilot is a cut above. And going back to our original example with Alpha Pay, we're starting to get some momentum with this product now, and we want to find out, what are the other big guys doing in this industry? What are the leaders doing? What's their pricing like? What are their features like? Where are we behind on the different features for those different products? And so instead of just asking a quick question on ChatGPT or in Copilot, being like, what are the features of other companies? We're going to go into deep research mode. And then it actually, instead of like spinning up an answer in a few seconds, it'll take anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour to give us answers. And so it asks us a few questions, asks us how long the report wants to be, and then it gets to researching. And so it builds a really great report that I can then download as a PDF. I can get it created into an infographic, a PowerPoint presentation that I can then share with the rest of the team. So yeah, this is nothing new. This is nothing crazy for AI. It's been doing this for quite a while. But where we start to really get some value with Copilot is we don't just have access to ChatGPT. We don't just have access to Claude. We have access to ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, if you like to use that as well. And we can start to get them working together for our benefit. And so if you look up here, we've got a few different ways of doing deep research. The auto research is actually known as critique mode. And what it does is it has ChatGPT create the report, and then Claude will go in and it will actually verify all of the different information for you. And it will, review the sources, and it will make sure that everything is actually the way it's supposed to be. Because I don't know, like if you probably know this, AI does kind of have a reputation for hallucinating, making things up. There was a report done by Deloitte in Australia for the Australian government. They paid, I think, like about 290,000 USD for it. And there was a guy on the compliance team in Australia on the tax, on the government side of things, and he started to look at the sources, and I think all of the sources were made up. In fact, there was a Canadian author who she heard about the story and she was looking into it, and she saw her name as one of the authors of one of the books that was sourced on it, and she did not write the book. She's not even in that field. And so we have to be really, really careful about just trusting this blatantly kind of thing. We have to verify. But Claude, this auto critique mode will actually get us one step further. So we can be closer when we're reviewing. We still got to review, but Claude's going to do the heavy lifting at the beginning. The other model, and I actually honestly like this one more. It gets ChatGPT to do a full research paper, and then it will get Claude to do a full research paper. And then at the end of it, it will show you where they agreed and where they disagreed. And some things you don't need multiple points of view, but for others, it's nice to have those contrasting opinions, and then I can kind of decide for myself at that point. And I hadn't been using deep research that much. I know Kim uses it quite a bit from our team. She's here. But now that I've been doing a lot more training with our clients and that kind of thing, this is something that I leverage constantly. So yeah, highly recommend trying out these two different models within deep research. Alrighty, now on to the main event. So we've talked a lot about Alpha Pay, and we've had Copilot tackling some different tasks for us. So we've had it in Word. I had built something in Excel. We're not going to have quite enough time for that. But yeah, in Word, we're in Teams, we're in all these different platforms, deep research, and it's working for us, kind of completing all these tasks and doing like a really, really great job. But it's kind of challenging to be jumping from app to app, almost like context switching, and then sometimes you have to copy and paste things over, or you have to make sure it's being saved properly and that kind of thing. And so this is where the rubber really meets the road, is with Copilot Cowork. And this is an agentic system. This was released by Claude 2 months ago, and then Microsoft now is using it for their platform. Excuse me for 1 second. It's about to get very noisy there. And yeah, this is an agentic system. So it can start to run, like autonomously in the background, completing complex multi-step tasks and come back to us with a really, really great finished product. And so instead of going to all of these different apps to get it to do what I wanted it to do, I put one master prompt in here. I asked it to go look at the training for Alpha Pay that we did last week. I didn't even put in the name of the training or who was in it or anything like that. I wanted to give it as little information as I could. I asked it to put together a standard operating procedure for us with our under our brand guidelines. I asked for a deep research to be done on our 5 biggest competitors. I asked it to create a report that I could share internally that shows the features that these other AP automation companies have that Alpha doesn't have, and actually to spin that up into a PDF that I can share with the team as well in a meeting. And then I also had it create a spreadsheet with those different features and prioritize them based on difficulty and that kind of thing. And so again, I did all of this in one single pane of glass. And you can see on the right hand side, as I said, this is like frontier mode. So this is very cutting edge, especially for Microsoft right now. And so it still does some funny things. And so it's still showing that it's working on this, but this was done yesterday. I had to prompt it twice to kind of get it finished, the exact same prompt. And so, or I think I just pressed a retry button. So while it's in frontier mode, it can still do funny things. I recommend using it in the browser as well if you have access to it, because in the app it doesn't work as well. But within the next few weeks, couple months, it'll be great, and we'll be on to the next tool kind of thing. And so I'll take you through the right-hand pane here. So we've got the different tasks that it was doing. It's got this input folder. So I didn't even ask it to, but it went out to my SharePoint or my OneDrive or something like that, and it pulled up my brand guideline, and it's using that for an input now. And Cowork has different skills that you can leverage. So it used the Word skill, PDF, PowerPoint, and Excel skills to help build these things. And like I'm just amazed at how kind of little I gave it and the output that it was able to develop. And so as you can see, it's like within our brand guidelines, it's structured really cleanly. And like I've reviewed the different information on it, and it's really, really accurate. And this would be something that I would feel comfortable. I probably edited a little bit, but throwing into SharePoint and putting up in our wiki for our team and our bookkeeper to use. The next thing I'll show you is the PowerPoint deck. I've never really used PowerPoint before because I suck at it. Like I'm absolutely the worst. And so, the fact that I just have one sentence saying, build me a PowerPoint deck and use my brand guidelines, it's like, this is, the output is truly phenomenal. And, I'm not the brightest guy in the world. Like usually I need like a lot of help from our team to do these different types of things, like putting together an SOP or a PowerPoint deck or anything like that. I was able to do this without bugging anybody really within like about 5 minutes. So I don't need to reach out to the marketing team. I don't need to reach out to the tech team for information. It's doing all of this for me. And then it put together a really great kind of memo that I could share with the team that shows our competitor breakdown. And then it also created this spreadsheet that shows the feature roadmap that I can then share with our development team. And Excel is a beast. It is so good with Copilot. So I think we could probably dedicate an entire session to that. Definitely open to comments and suggestions and that kind of thing for this. So that's one example, like of the first 20 minutes moving around different Copilot tools and that kind of thing, and then just doing it in Cowork with one prompt. I'll show you one more kind of practical example here. And so this is something that I did yesterday. I wanted to send out an invitation to some of our clients who have Copilot licenses. And so I told it to look for, the draft agenda that I had today. And then I said to people by name, I want you to invite XYZ from these different companies. Please go into my inbox and look for their emails and then draft an email to each of them. And then I personalized it a little bit in this prompt. And it was able to go out into my inbox, find everybody's email addresses, and then create the emails right within here. And then you don't even have to leave Cowork to send the emails. You can actually send the emails right from here. And so I didn't have to go into our ERP and get contact information or anything like that. It pulled everything right from here, and it personalized the email really well. And it took that will probably take me something like an hour and a half or 2 hours. And it was able to do it in about, 5 minutes. And so just a really great practical example of how you can use this. There were a couple other things that I wanted to go over with Cowork, but I think we're kind of creeping up at the end of our time here. Some people here are at the kind of beginning with Copilot, the beginning of your journey. So I get a lot of feedback from our clients saying, this doesn't give me results like ChatGPT, or this doesn't give me results like Cowork Claude. And it's like, well, first of all, we've been using those other tools for years and they know us quite a bit, but there's a few things that we can do to have Copilot get to know us better that I recommend to everybody to do. And so if we're in the Copilot browser, or if we're in the Copilot app, there's these 3 dots at the bottom here, and you click on settings, personalization, and you want to make sure that these 3 things are toggled, and that you can even spend 5 minutes on this today, and it's going to make a world of difference. And so I'll go to when I first started to really leverage Copilot more, I went to ChatGPT and I got it to write me custom instructions on how Copilot should interact with me. And so now whenever it's giving me an output, or whenever I'm asking it to do something, before it answers me, it will run through these custom instructions every time. The second thing, well, I'll go over this in a second, save memory. But this is the chat history. So I don't know why this is still in frontier mode, but this has to be toggled as well. We were wondering internally, I don't know, like 6 months ago or 9 months ago, why every time we talked to it, it was like it never talked to us before. And that was because this was not toggled. And so now it can access the previous chats, and it just has a lot more context on us. Yeah, so the one last thing here. There is a different times when I'm, interacting with ChatGPT or, Copilot or Claude, and it's like it keeps on putting an M dash, or it keeps on using words that I like. That's just not how I talk. And so they've got this really great feature within Copilot where you can say, update my memory, oops, don't use M dashes. And now it's getting to work, and it's actually updating my memory in the personalization settings, as you can see here, where now it will know that every single thing that we're doing, or every time it gives me an output, it needs to manage these memories as well. So there's lots of different ways that Copilot is getting to know us and improving the output. So yeah, let's recap quickly here. We've worked with AlphaPay, we've summarized the meeting, wrote a training document, did competitive research, ran an autonomous agent to do all of those tasks in one task. Oh, see there, this is the thing about a live demo. It still worked though. And so this is like 2 years ago when Copilot came out, or right before, I was so excited for it to come out. And then it came out and it was really, really bad. And so I'm so excited where it's at this year, that it's working with Claude, that we've got co-work, we've got agentic systems. It is really, really great. So I highly recommend, using it more. I mentioned to one of our clients a couple of days ago, I want the takeaway here. The goal is to just bring a little bit more and more into Copilot as we go here. So after this, I'm going to be sending out an email. And so we'll be doing a newsletter for different ways to leverage Copilot. If you want to subscribe to that, I'll send it off. You can just click approve or accept, or whatever the button says. I'm not sure yet. And then you can opt in. And then we'll also be doing this bi-weekly. So yeah, we're at the end of the time here. I'm not sure if there's been any questions. Just pulling them up here. When you do an in-person meeting, does Teams recognize different speakers? That is a good question. My experience with it is yes. As long as they are introducing themselves at the beginning of the meeting. I had a call the other day with a few different people, and they were on one camera, and it had different people talking, but it had the wrong people. So I think they need to introduce themselves. Would be my guess. But yeah, good question. Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I hope that you have an awesome weekend, and we'll shoot you an email after this, just following up.